Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Noah. I'm from Detroit.
Hello, Noah. How's Detroit going?
Fewer fires and shootings right now than usual, so
Great.
good.
All right. I've heard that Detroit is on its way back.
Sounds like Oakland.
It's been good lately, yeah.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Detroit is a fantastic city, from what I'm told. I've never actually been there.
It's better than people give it credit for.
Yeah. Cool. What's on your mind?
So, not that long ago, some friends and I decided we were going to go see a concert. It was Thanksgiving, Raff's Giving, as it were, with one Mr. Neon Icon, Riff Raff.
Great.
And we thought that would be a good time for some reason. The concert was billed, it was at a local skate park. It was billed as Get Obliterated with Riff Raff, biggest show of the decade, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So we show up, and things immediately kind of started taking a bad turn. Right out the gate, they were claiming that the show was sold out. They were giving free tickets to the first 100 girls at the door. There were not 100 people there, let alone 100 girls, and yet our female friends with us still had to pay for their tickets, which is whatever. But
yeah.
So we get inside. The openers for the show, well, first off, the crowd it looked like a high school dance. Yeah. If you looked at the sort of age ranges of the crowd.
Okay.
I'm 24, and I'd say I was in the upper 5% of ages there.
That sounds yeah.
There were parents looking concerned, standing in the corner.
Great.
As their kids, danced in ways maybe they shouldn't have on each other.
That's Riff Raff is for the children.
Right. So the openers were also comprised mostly of kids standing on stage, just kind of bouncing up and down. And eventually 3 hours go by. Riff Raff has still not taken stage. We are getting pretty annoyed. Some people in the crowd start yelling at the dude on stage. The promoter comes out at some point, says, are you ready? Who'd you come here to see? Pulls out what he claims is a bottle of champagne and starts spraying it over these 14, 15-year-old kids.
Fantastic.
And then says, okay, here he comes. 30 minutes later, Riff Raff is still not on stage. And finally, my friend goes to go to the restroom. Security guard won't let him use the restroom, says you can't get back here. My friend is pissed off because they won't let him. We can't leave the venue to go smoke. There's no alcohol, which they were expecting.
Yeah.
And now he's being told he can't use the restroom. So he has a fit. Find out later that Riff Raff was using the restroom as a changing room.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
Finally, he comes out on stage. Immediately, by this point, let's say at least a third of the crowd has left.
Of course. Yeah.
From waiting. So what was already a very small crowd is nothing. He comes out on stage. The initial 2 songs are really bad. More and more people are leaving. It gets down to the point of there's probably 20 of us in this room. And we are... our group had been kind of been a nuisance, admittedly. And so he has his security guards kind of circling us. So we finally say, fuck this. And we all go to leave. And as we're walking out, he says, you know what? Screw your lame ass city. I still got paid. Puts the mic down, walks off stage.
Great.
And in the middle of this, as he puts the mic down, walks off stage, the vocal track for Tiptoeing 2 continues to play.
Yep.
So certainly if he was performing, it was over a track if he was performing at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty common hip-hop tactic you'll see with a lot of lesser groups or groups that have a lot of like physical activity in their set, the way an insane Clown Posse would. Two Live Crew also... the Two Live Crew put out a live album called As Live As They Wanna Be, that is great, but also it's them rapping over their own shit. Like they're kind of yelling along with it in ways that you're like, you're hitting most of the words, I guess. So there's a rich and storied tradition of what Riff Raff has done live for you.
Yeah. I would not call his performance particularly active, such that he would need a backing track.
Right. Yes.
But he had one nonetheless.
Yeah. See, you're supposed to just have a crew with you that yells all the words, and they can hold towels and whip them over their head. You know, that was always the Wu-Tang thing, is there were just 30 people on stage, and they all knew the words, so Raekwon didn't have to.
Right.
And that would usually work out. Yeah, that sounds like a Riff Raff show to me. You know, that stuff can be hard in some cities. I mean, Detroit is like a major city, so it's kind of seems like it would do a little bit better there. But I've definitely, like, living in the suburbs, I've seen a lot of shows go exactly like that, where like a major, like a national act comes through on some Tuesday night in your town, and 9 people show up because the promoter maybe didn't get the word out, or whatever ends up happening. And yeah, that's crazy. Thanks for your call.
I mean, what it led to me wondering is just what was your all's worst concert experiences, because that was thankfully funny enough. The good memory, that was very bad.
Yeah, you turned into a robot there while you were starting your car. I don't know what you messing around with your keys or whatever, but yes, we heard your question. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your call. Worst concert. I mean, the one that came to mind as he was discussing that was Insane Clown Posse playing Petaluma.
Oh, Jesus. At Phoenix?
At the Phoenix, where they loaded in. My understanding is that they did sound check. I don't know if there was an opener for them or not. I assume so, but we went to go see it, and stood there and kept standing there and kept standing there, and they never came out. And after, I think, like an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something like that, word came down that they were not going to perform. And suddenly Violent J was sick. But all the while, having known the Tom, who runs the Phoenix, is a fantastic local fixture, hell of a guy. Yeah. Like, they were constantly asking what the door was, like how many people had paid. Like, they were very like, how many people have shown up to the show. And
we're not going to do it if it's not.
Exactly. And so once they got word that the door was X number of, they were just like, no, fuck this. Like, we're not going out there. So
do you know who we are?
They stayed on their bus. They loaded in a trunk full of 2 liters of Faygo, which I still have one of them of. My roommate stole 2 liters of Faygo out of the ICP trunk.
You know what I found out recently?
What's that?
Faygo is like a Homestuck thing. It's a whole Homestuck thing. The Faygo crossover.
The Homestuck ICP crossover. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the same audience, right? People who are obsessive over a bad thing.
Makeup.
Yeah.
Worst concert experiences. I haven't had any like catastrophic ones. I saw Morrissey recently, and that sucked. He was just, his opener, who I was really excited to see, got sick like right before the show, so she couldn't come, so we just watched a bunch of music videos.
Okay.
And then he got out there and just could not care less about performing. And let's see, I saw my friend's band CCA play at the Clover Creamery. Is that what it's called? Clover? Is that the milk
Clover.
people? Yeah, the Clover Creamery in Santa Rosa. And I mossed so hard that my foot ended up next to my head on the ground.
That's not supposed to happen.
So that personally was a bummer. But I've never had like just catastrophic concert failures.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely been to shows where, like, when They Might Be Giants played Petaluma, no one showed up. My friend Glenn promoted that show. He was doing shows at the Phoenix then, and yeah, not a lot of people showed up for that show. I think he got the Rentals to play. There was a string of like bands that Glenn was into that he booked for the Phoenix that no one came out to see.
Nobody in Petaluma wanted to
see. Which was a bummer, because they were like, yeah, I'll fucking go see the Rentals. Fucking hell yeah, I will. Took a bath on that Rentals show.
Oh.
But, I mean, I didn't personally, but the Phoenix probably didn't do great that night. Yeah, that ICP show, I mean, whatever. I believe I had already seen ICP live once, which, fun story, inspiration for those hockey jerseys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are we still taking sales on those?
Yes. You can still order a hockey jersey.
So pretend you didn't hear the inspiration.
Yeah. But it was that they were selling weirdly nice hockey jerseys at an ICP show, and they were like way more expensive than like a t-shirt would be, obviously. But it was a nice item, and I bought one. And I don't even, like it was just like this is a really weird thing. Like it's like a weirdly expensive hockey, like this. It's like a real hockey jersey. And I just thought that would be fucking cool to do.
Someone in the chat says, Tool is absolutely the worst concert I've ever been to. Maynard ranted for 30 minutes, played 3 songs, and left.
I mean, that sounds like you got off light. Like the worst thing is like if Tool comes and plays every
full
Tool
set,
song, you're
yeah.
like, fuck, whoops.